Hey, you. It's another beautiful day. Let's watch some stuff.
Look really closely here because these are not just similar, they are exact. This is a cathedral rose window and this is a cymatic glyph. The cymatics are made by putting a petri dish on top of a speaker and observing the resonant geometry that forms through the water. They look similar because that is what they are. They're the glyphs expressed artistically. The problem is they did not have cymatics. We only invented that in the 60s. Let's look at a few more and make sure that I'm right here. These are spiral cymatics. These are spiral rose windows. Let's look at a basic one first. This signal is not very clear, but you can see that the geometry is still there. If we increase the signal, then we start to get the details that you see in the window. Let's look at a famous one. This one is Truro Cathedral. You can see the linear geometry and the nodes also line up all the way across this entire glyph. Chartres is one of the coolest rose windows I've ever seen in my life, and this geometry is even more flawless than the last. All of these line up, the linear, the nodes, and even the details of this. Look at this, that right there, look at here, in between. Nailed it. The next one is Rouen Cathedral, probably butchering that too, but this is linear as you can get. Look at the geometry lined up here. The circles line up, the big circles and the small circles line up, even the details within it. Look at the separation of the geometries there. Cathedrals are esoteric, occult buildings. This means there is knowledge hidden for a select few within the building itself.
He said somatics were invented in the 60s, but I think that's just when we started to study them and really learn about their properties. But I'm pretty sure somatics it existed long before, along with this sacred geometry, right? That's what it is, right? But these rose windows are absolutely beautiful, and I found this little piece of information, which is just fantastic.
Churches and cathedrals were never built for religion and places of worship, and I'm going to show you exactly what these were built for. Now, churches and cathedrals display cymatic patterns in their windows, and cymatics are patterns made by frequency and sound. These windows display high vibrational healing frequencies, and some chapels even have songs encoded into their architecture. Now, this is what cathedrals look like on the inside. Clearly, this is not set up and designed for people to all be sitting and listening to someone all the way at the front. They were designed for people to lay down and listen to the healing frequencies from the instruments in these cathedrals. Now, our ancestors knew exactly how powerful frequencies are, and the oracle chamber is a perfect example of this. This is an underground chamber in Malta that pitches sound at 111 hertz, and 111 hertz frequency has been proven to cancer cells. Now, these cathedrals were also designed to generate their own free energy and convert it into electricity. This is why the word cathode is in cathedral. A cathode is a type of electrode through which electrons move. Now, this information has been intentionally hidden from us from our predecessors. However, we are in a time of awakening. The public consciousness is shifting and this information is coming to light. And this will definitely be a part of our free new world. Peace and love.
How fascinating is that? So these churches, actually these cathedrals, were actually built as like healing centers where you go and the harmonics of it, they resonate within your body and they heal you or they make you feel better. That is super cool. I had never even thought about that. But obviously with like the video we just saw, how the cathedral windows are ornate in the pattern of these cymatic frequencies, right? That's just super cool. Hey, thanks so much for stopping by. If you're having a good time, let me know by hitting that like button and maybe consider subscribing. And then come back tomorrow, because I'm making a new video every day.
The Megalodon, what do you know about it?
Prehistoric? Big shark.
1970s, NASA started a underwater research and testing site off the coast of Maryland.
Ooh.
And it was to study the existence of rare animals.
Okay.
This guy named George Meyer, marine biologist out of Texas, he went to Maryland to do some studying and a storm came and he got blown like pretty far out. When the storm passed, he looked off the boat and there's a giant cage underneath him.
Okay.
Being a marine biologist, he went underwater, and from what he saw, it went a mile this way and a mile that way. And on the cage, it said, Zone F property of NASA, stay out. And he said, oh, I don't want to mess with this.
Yeah.
Started swimming up, and he heard a loud metal banging.
Dude.
He looked back down, and what he saw, he said, was a shark 60 to 70 feet in length. He swam back to the boat, took off.
Yeah.
He came back 2 weeks later, and the cage was gone.
That is a pretty big cage. And I don't know why, but my brain is going to, how did they get that cage there? How did they get the megalodon in the cage? How did they get the cage out of there? I'm sure they probably just moved it from one location to another, but there's a megalodon. How did they get it? I mean, that's what I'm thinking. And NASA, hiding stuff and their secrets and everything.
Most of the public have no idea that the ISS is located in an underwater neutral buoyancy lab in Houston, Texas. The space station footage that they trick us with is not traveling at 17,500 miles per hour above your head. It's all being filmed here on Earth. An exact ISS replica underwater. Coincidence? It's a pretty simple process. Film your footage underwater, remove the water layer, add in your CGI Earth layer, and cast your spell.
There's now clear evidence of NASA using numerous methods to grossly mislead the public about astronauts being on the International Space Station. During interior ISS scenes from NASA's own live feed, the use of wires, harnesses, green screens, and virtual reality have been detected to achieve the appearance of a weightless environment. Examples of this include astronauts fading in and out of the screen, green screen glitches, grabbing objects that aren't really there, pulling on invisible wires, This begs the obvious question. If they're really up there, why are they using Hollywood techniques to fake the footage? Air bubbles have been recorded on numerous occasions. How is it possible for air bubbles to be present in the vacuum of space? In 2013, astronaut Luca Parmitano nearly drowned during a spacewalk when his helmet filled with water. This happened again just last year. Air bubbles, helmets filling with water, and drowning. Are they in space or are they underwater?
So, they lost all the footage. They haven't been back in 50 years. The lander looks like a 7th grade science project with paper mache and big gaps in it. There's no way it went through the Van Allen radiation belts. Let's be real. Every time they ask Buzz Aldrin, he gives some strange answer like he wants to tell us that they never went. The astronauts' press conference when they get back look like they just got a life sentence because you can tell that they're being forced to lie. You can see it in them.
Did you ever think the public would find out that all the spacewalks were filmed underwater?
Thanks, sir.
Do you have any comment on that?
Well, we train underwater.
Oh, okay.
Thanks,
but only training?
Only training.
Okay.
All right, so I am totally 100% team we went to the moon. We totally got folks out in space and the International Space Station is there. That's happening in here. And a lot of people do believe that as well, but a lot of people believe that that's not happening. And there's a lot of videos that show, potentially how it's being faked. And I think that's, incredible, the amount of footage that's coming forward that looks like they're like, hey, they're on wires and things like that. We actually did a video about it a while back. I'll link it in the description. You can check it out if you'd like. But it's a thing. Like, people are like, you're lying to us, and this is at the government federal level and stuff. And I just think, that's incredible. It's incredible the way that it's being put together as a falsehood.
You see this? That's a picture of the moon taken by an amateur astronomer. And that's a tower. That's a massive tower. Yeah, an amateur astronomer just posted images of a massive tower on the moon. And of course, NASA's saying nothing. So the way the story goes, this person was taking some high-resolution images of the moon when they saw something fishy. This thing, right up there. Do you see it? It's casting a huge shadow. That is some kind of tower. It's hard to get a real close view because let's face it, NASA's not taking pictures of it, and if they are, they're not letting anybody know. But this thing is huge, massive, and obviously intelligently made. Some speculations are it's at least 2 to 3 kilometers high. 2 to 3 kilometers high? That's huge, baby, that's huge. Just more proof that there's something going on out there and we're not being told. They're just not telling us. What do you think of this whole moon tower situation there, Booskies? Let me know in the comment section. Shabadoo.
So that's interesting. Do you think it's an alien tower? Or have we been already building up there and that's why they need to put the trains in and NASA's just keeping their mouth shut because, no need to open mouth, insert foot? I don't know.
This has got to be the most perfect example of just because you can doesn't mean you should. They made little nanobots that help sperm reach the egg. And for infertility issues, okay, I kind of get this, but you have to think about the kind of person you're creating by doing this. It's either going to be the stupidest kid you've ever met or the laziest. Don't you think that the poor mobility of the sperm is an indicator of poor genetic quality? Like, we all had to win a race, and this guy just gets valet for...
She's got a very valid point. At first I thought it was just funny, but she makes a lot of sense. I mean, there's a reason why, certain sperm don't make it because there may be something wrong with their composition or something that they weren't able to do the job, right? So why should there be technology, if there actually is this technology, to help the slow ones out? I mean, I don't know. I don't see that as necessarily a good thing.
Full disclosure has been dropped. Did you guys see this? Go to dpiarchive.com. This is Dr. Stephen Greer, if you follow him. This is the website they have created where he put all 33 years of documents into what he has been studying out there for you to see. There's so many documents, and I'm only just scratching the surface, guys. Look at some of these documents here. All of these intelling, wait until y'all go read this one here because it intels it goes deep, guys. It goes deep into what their plan is and whether this is real or not. This is 33 years worth of documents and data that has been flowing forth. We've been talking about it a lot lately, and now it's all coming forth for you to see. Full disclosure has just happened. dpiarchive.com. Did you see it? Did you see any of it? Did you read any of these? All of it now put out for you to see what is being done. What has been hidden is now just been revealed at dpiarchive.com. And I'm just wondering, have you read any of it? This right here is going to be like, this is opening up a can of worms, but the ones that bounce and fly everywhere, except for when they bounce and fly, they change the entire reality. This just got let loose. Wow, I knew 2024 was going to be like this huge pop. I did not realize it. And that we're just beginning. We're only in the beginning stages.
So I know that website's been out for a few minutes. This is the first I'm hearing of it, but a lot of that information that you see there, we've covered over the last few months since I started my channel. And I'm gonna check it out and see if there's anything in there that we haven't discussed yet. And if you've already checked it out, please let me know down in the comments below if there's anything that you'd like me to cover.
I got my DNA test back today, and it says I'm most notably connected, or my DNA is most notably connected to Chief Pontiac of the Ottawa Indians, or Native Americans. That blew my mind. And I was born in Korea, lived on the streets of South Korea.
Similar.
But there's not much Korean in me. How is that even possible? So, I'm a Korean from Korea that's not Korean, that's most notably connected to Chief Pontiac. how is that even possible? Someone explain it.
So this is the first I'm hearing about somebody actually getting a bad genealogy result. I don't know that it was like a cheap company and they're just like, fill in the blanks and then they send it to you just because, they're in it for the money. Or if it was, something like he was adopted or there was a family member, a grandfather or something that is Indian that, migrated over. I don't know. I did the ancestry and everything matched up. Like my relatives that I knew that had done it were all popping up and they're like, oh yeah, here you go. And everything was right. I also know that people are really sketchy about these genealogy things because they don't want the government to have their DNA. And once your DNA is like available, it's available for anybody who wants to take it, right? Like if there's some investigation or something and you have your DNA on file, they're going to find you or they're going to find it linked to someone else who had committed a crime, right? Isn't that how a bunch of like crimes were solved recently by that whole database? Because you're in the database now. I'm in the database now, which is fine. I'm over it. On that note, I'm going to call it for today. Thank you so much for sharing your time with me. Come on back tomorrow. We'll watch some new stuff. I'll say different things, and it's going to be fantastic. Until then, have a wonderful day.